In the mid-1980s in Seattle, Washington, a subculture emerged inspired by punk rock and metal. And in 1991, a band called Nirvana, you may have heard of them, kicked down the doors and really brought grunge into the mainstream. And if you're a 90s kid like myself, this sound is a very distinct 90s type of sound. That era is just filled with nostalgia, and it is that time period of grunge that Concepts drew inspiration from on their latest collaboration with New Balance. Concepts, New Balance 997 Montage. And the shoe dropped on December 11th for $220. This is not the first 997 Concepts collaboration. They've done quite a few before. Their past ones have been more kind of neutral or monochromatic. So this is a slight deviation, of course, inspired by 90s nostalgia, specifically punk rock and grunge. And first impressions of the shoe, I really like it. I have to admit, I'm not like a huge New Balance guy. I don't care if they're popular now. To me, I'm just gonna be a Jordan and Nike kid forever. That's just what I grew up with. But I think the 997 silhouette and shoe itself actually is one of the better ones. I think the colors on the shoe too, I don't love all of it. Some of it I'm pretty neutral about, but the majority of the color, like the base, I really like. And in contrast to like some Action Bronson collaborations where it's just a ton of colors used on the shoe, it's never really been my thing. I think this is much simpler for me, just easier to wear. I think they really did a good job on this. And the materials on the shoe, it is nearly all suede, and it is a made in USA shoe, and that means at least 70% is of domestic value. And the suede here, no surprises, does feel really good. Feels nice and soft, pretty plush to the touch as well. The suede on the back, like ankle lining there where it's jet black, that feels a little bit worse. Doesn't feel too great there, but very small amounts. Generally overall, very nice materials. And you'll see the New Balance logo here, that is actually mismatched. On the medial side, it is like, again, a gradient going from lighter gray to black. And you will see also some of that plastic wrapping around the eyelets as well as the ankle and heel there. That is added for more stability. And moving up the tongue, it is suede there too with just black New Balance made in USA branding. And the tongue itself, it is this type of exposed tongue. Again, playing into the storytelling of the shoe where it's vintage, distressed, kind of deconstructed, and a vacuum, just how it looks. I've never really loved like these exposed tongues. It just looks kind of cheap to me, but I get for the theme of the shoe why they did that. And moving around to the booty of the shoe, you will see Concepts branded there in orange that is stitched, and the shoe does come with one extra set of laces. So out of the box, you get these gray laces and black is the extra set. Out of the two, I think black actually looks pretty good, kind of gives it a new pop. I like how it contrasts against the gray shade of the shoe itself. But yeah, I think both work pretty well. And in terms of the cushioning of the 997, it uses New Balance's InCap system. So that is essentially just EVA foam encapsulated by a firmer polyurethane rim. And if you're used to wearing like Jordan retros or Nike retros where the shoes are very flat to the ground on purpose, they were shoes usually meant for basketball, and basketball players do like that added court feel. You're gonna feel pretty quickly. The sole here is rather thick, so it might feel kind of weird to you. You're relatively high off the ground, but the cushioning is decently soft, so you don't have to break it in for a long time or anything. And the midsole here where it is all sail, I usually don't love when they stick sail on shoes, but usually I don't like it when they do it for no reason. But the storytelling of this shoe is to go back to the 90s, go back to a grunge kind of dirty era, and the sail here absolutely makes sense. It also has this grunge type of look, and I think for this shoe it fits pretty well. Just in case you forget what type of cushioning this uses, it does have InCap branding on the heel there too. And I do have to mention, you probably have noticed this little black part on the forefoot area. That is actually done on purpose. That is meant to mimic like a marker scribble. Again, playing into the deconstructed type of look of this shoe. And I think they actually did this pretty well. It's not like too big of an area. It's not like in a weird bold color, just black. Doesn't stand out. In terms of the outsole, pretty regular here, no special branding. Just a charcoal gray rubber outsole with New Balance 997 on on the heel there. And the insole of the shoe, it is slightly mismatched. The style of the insole though is pretty similar. Again, going for that punk rock type of grunge look, and the quality of these, not the greatest. And the box of the shoe, about as basic as you can get. Just a New Balance box, New Balance paper inside as well. For a collaboration, I feel like this is a little disappointing in terms of storytelling. And in terms of sizing comfort, I am a wide and flat footer. For 997s, generally I go true to size, fits me pretty well. New Balance is a company that is pretty well known to be wide foot friendly. If you don't have wide feet, I can see you going down half a size and you might be fine, but definitely get a second opinion. For me, true to size it is. Overall comfort wise, again, as someone that wears a lot of Jordan and Nike retros, the weight or lack of weight is very apparent. This is a very lightweight shoe. You don't really feel it much on feet. It doesn't feel like a brick. The cushioning is quite soft, straight out of the box. You do feel relatively high off the ground, so that might take some getting used to. Another thing that you might need to get used to if you're not used to wearing like running shoes or shoes like this is the heel to toe drop. So you definitely do feel it. If you usually wear like flat Jordans when you're walking, you do have to kind of adjust to it, but it's not like a deal breaker. Overall, it's a pretty comfortable shoe. And that brings the total score of the Concepts New Balance 997 Montage to 39 out of 50. Pretty good score compared to other collaborations. Now first, it is colorway. I like it. I don't love every part of the colors on the shoe. Generally, I don't love pink or like gold or yellow on sneakers, but these are in very small amounts, so I'm a bit more neutral when it's stuck on this. And New Balance isn't exactly like a stranger to using a ton of different colors on their sneakers, but I just really like the gradation of the light gray to darker gray to eventually black on the shoe. I think the sail for this colorway specifically actually fits really well. So overall, yeah, I think there's a very nice looking colorway. And in terms of the materials, again, no surprises here for a made in USA New Balance. Very nice suede, feels great to the touch, nice and soft. I really like how it feels. And in terms of the comfort, I think it's a very comfortable shoe, lightweight, well cushioned, thickly cushioned. It is old technology, but I still think it works pretty well. I think they could have given us slightly better insoles that'll up the comfort a little bit. But overall, especially as someone that wears old Jordans and Nikes, this is a very comfortable shoe in comparison. And in terms of the versatility of the shoe, this is where my personal bias kind of kicks in. To me, Jordans and Nikes will just always be the most wearable, like casual use sneakers. That's just what a sneaker looks like to me intuitively. Shoes like this will always look more like running shoes, at least instinctively. That's how I feel. But I must say, in 2025, a shoe like this is pretty versatile. This works casually, no problem. And the wearability of the colorway, I think some parts are pretty loud, pretty bold, like the pink. But in general, it's majority just gray and black sneaker. I think this is a decently versatile shoe. And in terms of the storytelling, I think on this shoe itself, it's pretty well done. So like the grunge aesthetic and distressed aesthetic really comes through with that vintage distressed pattern on the midsole, as well as the exposed foam. You get custom branded insoles as well. Concepts branding on the booty. What I don't love is the entire unboxing experience. So the box is as basic as can be, so don't love that. Paper is as basic as can be also. And I do know, like the C-No collaboration they had a few years ago, that was really well done in terms of storytelling. I think they probably left a little bit on the table. And today's throwback of the day, staying on theme, it is another Concepts New Balance 997 collaboration. It is the luxury goods colorway that came out in February of 2015, inspired, of course, by luxury. It features a monochromatic orange upper with suede. It looks to be very nice suede as well, and it reminds me of NYX colors. And it's been 10 years since this dropped, so I wouldn't be surprised if they brought this back like a one-to-one return, or maybe change things up by taking the theme of luxury goods again and putting a modern like 2026 spin on the shoe specifically. Now, a few years ago, New Balance brought back the Concepts C-No collaboration. I think that was one of my favorite sneakers of the year. And this year, again, when the two companies teamed up, brought up this colorway, and again, probably one of my favorite sneakers of 2025. So that's it. Thanks for watching. So inclined, let me know what you think of the Concepts New Balance 997 Montage. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come. The way your shoes.